Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I yield to Representative Randolph.
Representative Randolph.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. You know, I've heard a lot from the front rows patting each other on the back about how we didn't increase taxes. But members, I want to remind you that this budget is based upon the $800 million tax increase you passed 3 years ago. The only ones with clean hands here are the freshman members. Everybody else, you're still voting for a tax increase. When you voted to increase middle-class taxes by $800 million 3 years ago, this budget is still based upon that. This budget still has it in there. I gave you a chance to repeal some of those taxes, by the way. I gave you a chance to do a tax reduction, and you all turned it down. This budget is based upon a tax increase. Why is it? It amazes me when the front rows talk about tax cuts, they don't mean you. They don't mean the middle class. They don't mean the 99%. Instead, we're always up here cutting taxes for the big corporations and the special interests that have their lobbyists standing out on the 4th floor. This budget, don't kid yourself, when you vote for this budget, you are voting for an $800 million middle-class tax increase. That, as of now, it's $2.4 billion. You're worried about $50 on unemployment? What about the middle-class families that have had to see their driver's license and their tag fees and their renewal fees increase, and it all goes into GR, and a tax is a tax is a tax. You all raised those taxes three years ago, $800 million. This budget is still based on that $800 million tax increase. You all are taxing the middle class, and you're taxing them out of existence. This is a middle class tax increase if I've ever seen one. So if you don't want to tax the middle class, if you're against tax increases, you'd vote against this budget, and we'd revisit what I tried to do 2 weeks ago, which was repeal some of those tax increases. Instead, I have a feeling when the front rows constantly talk about cutting taxes, they don't mean the middle class. They don't mean the working families of this state. They mean big Wall Street corporations, the big fat cats up at Wall Street. And that's the way it goes here in Florida, isn't it? When you say tax cuts, you don't mean us. You don't mean the middle class. You don't mean the guy and the woman that gets up and goes to work every day and plays by the rules. Instead, you mean the special interests out there that hire the big expensive lobbyists. If you don't want to put another tax increase on the middle class, you'll vote against this budget. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.